I'm Monica. I'm a product marketer with Planable. It's great to be here today to talk about campaigns, something I do daily in my job as product marketer as well. I feel the anxiety that we're hinting in the title, but I'm curious to see how you guys are feeling and what tips and tricks the Imagine guys have to share with us. So I'll pass on the mic to Eddie and keep any questions you have in the chat. We'll make sure to answer every one of them. The idea is to interact and to get all your questions and any thoughts that you have on the matter exposed. So Eddie, take it on.
Thank you, Monica. Hey guys, I can see anyone, so I'm just gonna keep talking. Welcome to today's webinar. I'm Eddie, and I'm really excited to be able to present to you this subject. This session is hosted by Imagine and with a collaboration with Planable. So the subject is about, Monica already talked about it, it affects every marketeer at some point, campaign stress and how to manage it. It's really crucial that we learn from each other and we share our experiences. So this is the title of the webinar. So first, before we start, if you've ever felt overwhelmed by tight deadlines, high expectation, or tool overload, you're not alone. Because today we'll explore why campaigns cause stress, the biggest workflow mistakes, and we're gonna show you real case studies and practical tools to make your life easier. So before we start, I would love to hear from you. What makes your campaign what makes you anxious about your campaigns? What happens when you have campaigns? Can you please scan the code and I'll share the Slido with you and we can see the responses. Yeah, deadlines. It's something that everyone talks about. Yeah.
Definitely the budget.
Yeah. High demands of clients. That's a pain point. ROIs as well. I'm gonna leave it for a couple of minutes, so this way we'll see it become a word cloud as well. Yeah, efficient tools. That's a crucial one. So as you can see, there's a lot of things that are similar or that all of us have, and it's a pain point, and it's really crucial to have the right tools, the right setup, the right structure, the right project management, let's say, as well, to be able to maybe decrease anxiety. Yeah, value proposition, of course. Unfinished content. I think this is a big one as well. Yeah, launch events. I think this is the biggest part of this is the biggest stress that people have.
Launch event, we're talking about another level of anxiety here. Like that's just marketing. So
I'm gonna just leave for just 2 minutes or even less than maybe 1 minute, and then we can move on. Yeah, the metrics, the ROIs, the KPIs, everything around that, it's crucial. If you don't achieve it, tasks and deadlines, of course, being able to manage the tasks and manage the team to be able to be on time. That's really important. So client stress. So I'm gonna move on, but these are really interesting points. Tracking requirements changing mid-campaign. I think this is something that always happens. So I'm gonna move on with the presentation. So before we start, I would like to share a bit about my journey. And as you can see, in the first image, Pietro was with me. He's in the chat as well. So this is where I did my MBA. It was a great time. It helped me broaden my horizon and taught me a lot about business and culture. After that, I started working with different startups, but I just decided to put the startup that impact me the most because I'm a gamer. So it was a gaming startup. It was really interesting. And after that, I am currently working as a product manager, managing 6 products in PwC, from financial services, reg reporting, and so on. And now we started our own company, myself, Eli, and Rudy, as the guys that you can see. It's called Imagine. So to give you just a small brief about what Imagine is, or what we do at Imagine. At Imagine, we love helping businesses solve problems and reach their goals with creative solutions tailored just for them. We love to blend fresh ideas, smart planning, and AI insights to run workshops that bring teams together, spark new ideas, and make sure users are happy with what they get. So I don't want to keep talking about it. I just wanted to give you a small introduction. So I always like to show this slide. So in this video, you'll see a sped up version of a long conversation we had with ChatGPT. We see ChatGPT as a personal career coach. It's like having a knowledgeable advisor 24/7. So everything we did, everything we achieved for Imagine, we did it on this chat. All of our planning, all our brainstorming is in the chat. And whenever we need something, we simply ask within the same conversation. So now to really start why we're here. So why are campaigns more stressful than ever? Campaigns used to be simple. One TV commercial and you were done. Today, it's an entirely different game. Let's talk about the 4 biggest reasons why campaigns feel more overwhelmed than ever. So I'm gonna walk you through the 4 biggest pain points. First, let's say that you plan a campaign and suddenly, boom, as usual, we need this live by next week. Have you ever had that? With constant last-minute changes, approvals dragging, and no buffer time, team end up rushing work, making mistakes, less quality, and burning out, which happens a lot, and we see it happening a lot. Next, do more with less. Basically, ever been asked to create a Super Bowl campaign on a shoestring budget? I think this is something that maybe every single client asks for. Instead of production team, you get Canva and make it viral strategy. Instead of a paid ad, you get be creative. So it's really crucial. Brands want massive impact with minimal spend. Third pain point, you know that you can't launch the ad until the designer finishes. You can't send the email until legal approves. You can't post on social until leadership signs off. So this is something that happens regularly. One bottleneck and everything stalls. Instead of fixing the problem, teams are just told to work faster. And lastly, this is something that we already saw in the Slido. More tools means more efficiency, but in reality, it's more chaos. Because as you know, marketeers, they juggle more than 10 platforms at a time, from Slack, Asana, emails, spreadsheets, just to track one campaign. Instead of simplifying the work, tools end up slowing team down. So the solution, it's not about using more tool, but it's about using the right tools. So what we did is we wanted to explore real use cases that we worked with companies, and to show you that there's a lot of things that can be done to make your work or campaigns less anxious and less stressful. So to start, I would like to start with an e-commerce brand's Black Friday campaign that almost crashed until we turned it around. And I would love to show you what was the problem and the solution that we were able to help them with and the outcome. So let me take you behind the scenes of what happened. The campaign that was supposed to be the biggest sales event of the year, but instead it was turning into a nightmare. So the team was juggling multiple platforms: Facebook ads, Instagram influencers, email marketing websites, promotions, you name it. But the problem was that everyone and everything was disconnected. Each department was working in silos. The paid ads team had one strategy. The social media team had another strategy. Well, the email team, they didn't know what they had. Well, they were just trying to keep up. And the worst part, the work was, and the content was duplicated. It was creating really a lot of waste resources. Then came the approval delays. Every post, every ad, every email had to go through multiple rounds of approval. But because there was no clear process, things got stuck. The closer they got to the Black Friday, the worse their pain became. So what we did, we facilitated a workshop, and the workshop that we facilitated was a discovery workshop. And the results were that we helped them introduce a shared campaign roadmap. Suddenly, everyone could see the bigger picture, who was doing what and when. Next, we decided to streamline the approval process. Instead of endless emails threads, we implemented a structured workflow where stakeholder they were able to give feedback in one centralized place. And finally, we created a campaign playbook, a really simple guide ensuring that messaging, visuals, and timing were consistent across all channels. And finally, after implementing all of these changes, the results were 40% faster approvals, no more last-minute chaos, no duplicate content, and for the first time, the team actually felt in control of the campaign. So I want to get back and ask you another question. If you can take your phones again and scan the QR code, how do you manage campaign chaos? Yeah, that's a really big pain point if you still rely on spreadsheets and manual tracking.
Multiple tools are indeed very chaotic when they all come together.
Yeah, it's understandable. Yeah, this is the survival mode. I think this is not something that we need. The problem is that now there's a lot of tools in the market, and everyone thinks that we should use every tool, and every tool makes us more efficient, but actually it doesn't. And this is something that we'll get to later. I like that no one is saying that they let each team handle their own tasks separately. Okay, so the biggest percentage is mostly on using more tools and it becomes chaotic, which is something that we all agree on. So moving on, I would like to discuss another use case. This time it was from a fashion brand that came to us with a big challenge. They wanted a high impact influencer campaign, but their budget, as usual, almost non-existent. So the marketing team was frustrated. They knew influencer marketing worked, but they couldn't afford big name celebrities. And at the same time, their content production costs were through the roof. So one of the marketing leads told us, we feel stuck. We need to make an impact. We need to make an impact, but we just don't have the budget to compete. So what we did to fix it is we facilitated a solution framing workshop. Instead of going, and the results were, instead of going after a celebrity influencer, we turned to influencers, people with smaller but highly engaged following. They were more affordable, but also more authentic, which meant better engagement. Next, we repurposed content. Instead of constantly reproducing new materials, a single photo shoot turned into multiple Instagram posts and email banners and etc. And finally, we automated their workflows. Social media posts, emails, and content approval were scheduled in advance, freeing up for the team to focus on strategic decisions rather than day-to-day execution. And the result at the end was that they had 30% lower production cost, twice the engagement growth. Not only did they stay within budget, but their campaign actually performed better than the previous one. And this just goes to show you don't need a massive budget to run a successful campaign. You just need a smarter approach. So moving on, I would like to show you the last use case, and hopefully these use cases, everyone already had experienced them, and hopefully these solutions as well would help you. So for the last use case, let's talk about a SaaS company that was about to launch a new product feature. So the launch was supposed to be exciting. The marketing team had big plans. They had social media campaigns, blog content, paid ads, and email sequences. But there was a problem. The deadline kept slipping. And I think this is something that everyone has, because they didn't have a really good structure and they didn't have a really good view on what the team is doing. The team was working really hard, but things were getting delayed. And the worst part, no one really knew who was responsible for what. One person thought the design team was handling something, while the design team thought it was the marketing team that was working on it. So the tasks kept bouncing, and nothing was getting done on time. So by the time leadership got involved, the campaign was already behind schedule, and they really needed help with that. So what we did is we facilitated a workshop we like to call ownership at work. And how we fixed it is, first, we defined clear team roles. Everyone knew exactly what they were responsible for. No more confusion, no more, I thought they were handling it. And then we introduced an agile sprint-based structure. Instead of planning everything at once, the team worked in short focus sprints, in 2-week sprints usually. This is how we do it, ensuring that tasks move forward every single week. And finally, we set up weekly stand-up meetings, quick check-ins to track progress and address roadblocks before they turned into major delays, because this is something that always happens as well. And the result, and it was a really surprising result, they had 50% fewer missed deadlines. The team felt more in control. They had less stress. And the best part is that they actually really enjoyed the campaign process and they didn't feel overwhelmed. So if you've ever felt like your team keep missing deadlines, maybe it's not about working hard, it's more about working smart. So this is something that we already said. Campaign success isn't just about effort, it's about clarity, ownership, and using the right tools. So this is the last Slido that I'm gonna share with you. So it would be nice if you can answer it as well. What tools are you currently using for campaign management? Planable, nice. I would love to see the Excel table that you use, whoever wrote it. Physical planner from Target, I have one of that as well. Yeah, one of my favorite tool is ClickUp. I've been using Asana now for a while. I like it, but I think there's other tools that are better. There's a lot of limitations in using Asana. Okay. I'm gonna keep it for a bit if there's any other answers, but it's nice to see that the top three are Plannable, Notion, and ClickUp. All right, moving on. So saving time with tools and automation. When you choose the right tools, stress is decreased. So the big issue isn't just about having tools. It's knowing which ones actually help in this. I already said it multiple times and I'm gonna keep on saying it. The right tool reduces stress, centralizes workflows, and cut approval time significantly. So using tools is important, but using the right tools is more valuable. And I just wanted to take a moment to talk about Plannable. Plannable is one of the most powerful campaign management tools. It centralizes approvals, collaboration, and scheduling in just one place. It eliminates endless emails chains. One client uses Plannable can cut approvals time from 7 days to 2 days. And Monica will give you more details about Plannable at the end. These are some of the tools that we wanted to share with you. I think you already talked about Notion, ClickUp, Asana, and Monday.com, but I was really surprised that no one talked about any AI tools or generative AI tools. Hopefully you already started using them, and even collaboration tools. I think I can't live without Miro and even FigJam. So hopefully you guys are using these tools, and if you're not, please try them. And please, I think for example, Miro is a life changer if you start using it. So at the end, I just want to recap on what we've learned today. We've learned that campaign stress is caused by broken workflows, not just workloads. Real case studies prove that better processes lead to success, and the right tools can streamline approval, reduce complexity, and cut campaign timelines significantly. So thanks a lot. And if you want to explore more ways to improve your campaign management, send us an email or visit us on our website, or you can just follow us on Instagram. And now I'm going to leave the floor to Monica.
So as you see, the guys have planned the Q&A session as well. So make sure to write all your questions in the chat. We'll make sure to answer them. And yes, as I told you, I'm one that feels the campaign anxiety as I manage the launch campaigns that we have for our major features. This webinar is actually part of our campaign to launch our new campaigns feature, which is amazing, at least for me as a product marketer. So I'll share my screen a bit and show you around Planable just to give you a quick glimpse into what you can do. I'll be just a second. I do it like this just to keep things simple. Oh, I hope you can see my screen well. So this is the main dashboard to manage a campaign in Planable. Planable started as a social media management tool, which allows you to schedule your content on social media. Our superpower is collaboration, the fact that you can bring all your team into the tool, all your clients, you can get fast approvals, you can schedule to the most important social media networks. Then what we did was bring the possibility to plan and work on other types of content. That's rich text content, be it for blogs, be it for newsletters, be it for anything. And now we've added this organization layer that is absolutely amazing for running campaigns. So as you mentioned, one of the biggest problems when managing a campaign is having things scattered around multiple tools. And we get that. We want to make Planable the command center for your campaign, but we also know that you might need to use other resources as well. So this is where you define your campaign. As you can see, you can add links here. I personally do the strategy for a campaign launch in Notion. So I'd add the link to the Notion brief here. If you have some Google Sheets that you use, you can add the links here. But this puts in the minds of everyone in your team that when they're looking for something specific related to the campaign, they can come in this dashboard and they'll just be one click away from what they need. Then you have this space to put in whatever is relevant from the strategy. You can add milestones, for example. I like to use emojis, right? So I'll say milestones are here. I don't know, launch dates, etc. Then you can also add to-do lists. Yeah, so what do we need to launch? We have to have the landing page live by March 15th, for example, okay? So you can do everything here and you can cross-check what needs to be done. And then you have a way to keep all your assets organized within the calendar campaign. So this campaign shows you the content that you have planned and that you're publishing within this campaign. You have the media library, which is again, only assets that relate to this campaign. And then you can check your social media analytics for whichever page that you're using. You can see it all here. Now, the beautiful part is that you have this in the content calendar. And as you can see, maybe you're publishing all your posts are not related to one specific campaign, and you need to have visibility when each campaign happens, right? So I know this is the timeline for this campaign. I have some posts that are part of the campaign and some posts that aren't. As you can see, if you need extra organization layers, you can add labels for anything that you need. Now, the beautiful part about Planable, as I said, is you bring all your team in. So if you need to get approvals, as you see, this one's approved, but otherwise you just request approval and then the person gets notified that they need to review what you're doing, get the approval. Then you can publish it, but you can also give very specific feedback. So for example, if I don't like this hypnotic, simply, I don't know, lovely, right? I just add the suggestion. Whoever is in charge of this content can see my feedback. They can accept it with one click and it gets changed and everything's fine. But you don't waste a lot of time doing this. And as we said, no email back and forth, no spreadsheets on what's approved, on what's not approved. You can do it all here. You have a very powerful set of settings. My favorite one is around approvals, of course. You can choose not to have approvals. You can keep them optional. You can have required approvals, but you can also have these multiple levels of approval. So for example, if first you need to get the design go ahead, then the client, and you can just put some people on each layer. And once someone on the layer approves, it just moves on and asks for approval from the other person. You can schedule posts automatically once they're approved. This is your choice for each workspace that you have. If you're working with multiple clients, you can have dedicated workspaces, so you keep all your work very tightly organized. You also have you can also add all your team members here, and you can add very specific permissions. So for example, if you are working with a client and you don't want them to check your analytics each day, so you have the opportunity at the end of the month to come with a report and to present that, you can remove the view for analytics for them, so you don't get, I don't know, unwanted questions all the time. Why is this post not performing? Just let it sit there. That's our strategy. We're executing it. And then at the end of the month, you can generate a report from Plannable. That's also very easy to do. And you can show them the results and with the background explanations that you need. So each member, you can also define roles for team and client, which means that you can have conversations that are visible only to the internal team, so that the client doesn't see what's going on behind closed scenes, right? And only when it's ready for their approval, you ask for their approval, and you can have the public conversations with them. I think that's pretty much a good view of what you can do in Plannable. I don't want to sell too much the tool. You can try it for yourselves if you haven't already. You can try it for free. You have 50 posts with unlimited features just to see what's going on. So let's get to the Q&A.
Yeah, you have already a question.
Yeah, I was trying to say.
I'm sorry, we don't hear the audio, so let's write in the chat, and we can read each question and start to answer them live. Okay, so let's see. So Ryan, guys, can you help me? Because I see you've already been replying to some questions.
Yeah,
Are there questions that need to be answered still?
yeah. There's a question for you. How Anastasia asked how to connect analytics in Plannable.
Yeah, so now Plannable supports only analytics for the for social media networks. So Plannable only supports analytics for social networks for now. You can have your Facebook account connected and see your analytics, your Instagram, your LinkedIn, your TikTok, I don't know, some more. We have it all on the website, and I'm happy to answer any specific questions via email. I think you've all gotten some emails from me, and I'm happy if you reply to let you know and to give you maybe a more detailed walk through the tool. Happy to answer. Thank you for the question, Anastasia.
Do you have any other questions for us? So it's time. Yeah, thanks, Ryan.
Let's see. So what's Ryan's question? Is it? So Ryan asked, what if you're a champion for structure and organization, but you struggle to get buy-in and commitment to processes from your large team? How do you overcome that? Do you have any tips?
Yeah, we wrote our tips, but we can talk about them as well if
Yes, let's expand.
Yeah. I actually had that once in a team. It was really crucial to to add new structure or new tools. And there was a lot of pushback from the team. And as I said in my message, what I try to do is to put some pieces of the new structure first, test them, and show them that it's really it brings value or it makes the work more efficient. As Rudy said, it's for them and not against them, the new tools that we're putting. So it's really crucial to show them that this is for you, this is not for me. So and it takes time, but at the end of the day, any change or any people need to adapt to change, and some people really don't like to adapt to change. So if you want to do that, take it step by step.
And I think it's very important to have them part of the process as well, because they will feel that they are part of it and it's not like something forced upon them. And as Adi said, people usually don't like change. So doing it that way will help them see how beneficial those new processes are, and then they will eventually follow and use them more religiously.
Exactly.
I've seen people very wary of any process changes, as that they usually fear that it might add times, more work on the process and not working on the work itself. And indeed, as Eddie said, I find it's much easier to get their buy-in for just a test. Like you say, let's test this for one project or for 1 month, for 2 weeks, if it's enough. We'll see how it works, and then we'll adjust together. What works, what doesn't work, you do some retrospectives. And then I usually say, let's err in the beginning of adding more process, more meetings, more something like that. And once we have it figured out, and once the machine is well oiled, then we can take some of those meetings out and get back to having more time to work on the work. But you need to give some time for the machine to start working together.
Yeah, 100.
And also, on top of that, I would like to add something. Yes, it is important to have a structure and everything, and it is up to the team to adapt to the structure that you're working on, but also it's our job as leaders to know which tools to utilize. I'm going to give you a very simple example. Like we personally at the company as marketeers, we use Planable, we use Notion, we use ClickUp, and whenever we have a campaign, we use many platforms for that. At some point, we reach a point where it became a bit overwhelming. Up until this is a very simple example, since we're talking about Planable, they were able to introduce the campaign structure within Planable itself. So what did this benefit us is we were able to drop one of the tools and centralized most of our communication and ideation into one platform instead of, or let's say 2 platforms instead of 3, 4. So everything starts with which platforms are good and important and essential for the campaign, instead of using many tools that might overwhelm the team and like create sort of chaos within the campaign and structure.
And to add to that, from my experience, sometimes management or the stakeholder just come and say, we're going to start using this tool. And that's where you get a pushback from the team. It's more you need to understand their pain points and tell them you have these pain points, so we decided to use them. So as well, it's the way you communicate getting new tools is important.
Monica has a question. We work with industry associations, with volunteers from industry companies involved in communications functions with our support. Any experience with teams of dispersed, busy professionals who are not being paid for the work?
Trust me, yes. It's a hassle, and it's one of something that's really frustrating. And we had that last year. We worked, I can't name the company, but with a really big company where people are really, really busy and they don't have time for everything or anything or any change or any new tools to try. So it was really hard in the beginning, and it took a lot of time and a lot of pushback again from them. But at the end, it's about showing the value of the tools. It's about showing the value of the new structure, showing the results, as Monica said. Test it for 2 weeks. You don't like it, you see that it doesn't bring value, we're gonna stop using it. And of course, it depends on the industry, it depends on the situation in the company, and it depends on what you're doing, and it depends on the team. So that's why we do something called discovery workshop, for example, in the beginning, just to really understand the team, to really understand what the team needs, and to really understand what are the solutions that we can give for the users.
I think it's also a challenge with people who are very busy and not paid for the work, so they're less involved. I think you need to make sure that everything is like crystal clear. If we have a deadline, if we agree on it together, make sure it's plastered somewhere on their email as obvious as it can be. Send them reminders. You have to do the organization work for them since they don't have that much skin in the game.
So I don't know if this is something that you can add, but what we try to do as well, we try to give incentives or recognition. I know that it's not paid, but still incentives, small incentives help a lot for people to be able to work better as well.
Or at least to recognize their contribution, like maybe public appreciations and so on, especially that they are not being paid for it and they're volunteers. So that sense, you make them more involved in the tasks and wanting to give even more and keep the engagement high.
Yeah, recognition is really crucial.
But as Monica said, for this specific case, clarity is maybe the biggest word that we need to use because of having the team dispersed and not all in one place. So clarity will help the structure being even more efficient, adding to that the motivation and the recognition.
Thank you for the question, Monica. It was interesting. An interesting challenge working with volunteers. Waiting to see if there are any more questions. Now's the time. Okay, so I think that's a wrap. Thank you, everyone. It's been great. I hope it's been a great webinar for you. It's been interesting for me. I'll be sending the recording very soon if you want to recheck what we've been discussing here. Enjoy your days, evenings, mornings, wherever you are. Bye-bye.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone. Thank you for joining.